Hello everyone. In this video we are going to talk about processes and services and the Tasklist command and the Taskkill command. What I want you to do is close all your apps, so except for the one that you're watching this video on. So just go ahead and if you have any Word documents or anything open, just go ahead and close everything except for what you're watching this video on. Okay, and then next, what I want you to do is press Control Alt Delete and then choose Task Manager. Now, I don't know if you can see that on my screen because it doesn't always come through in the video, but I did Control Alt Delete all at the same time, and then I chose Task Manager, and this is what we get to come up right here. Okay, so this will show us all of the applications that are running. Now, I've got these two are for recording this video, so I have to keep those running, and then I'm also using this one for my notes too. So this Task Manager will show you all of the apps that are currently running. Okay, now let me show you something else here. If I go to more details, click on that, there's a whole bunch of stuff here that I didn't really realize was running. Look at all this stuff. Now yours will probably be different, but these are all the programs that are running in the background that we don't see. So a lot of them have to do with keeping things updated, and just I'm not even sure what many of these things do, but look at all these programs that are running in the background. Now we call these background services. Okay, whether it's an app that you started or a background service, they're all called processes. So these are all processes right here. Okay, here's what I want you to do now. I'm going to go ahead and hide those details by clicking that right here. And let's just go back to the apps that we launched so we can just look at those. Now, go ahead and on your desktop, create a new Word document and open it. So I'll choose a new Word document, and I'll just go ahead and double click on it to open it. Okay, there we go. Here's my Word document. I'm going to Alt Tab back to Task Manager, and there I can see that Word is running. Okay, now let's go ahead. I'm going to minimize my Word document right here so I can see my desktop. Let's go ahead and open another one here. So I'm going to right click on the desktop somewhere and choose New Word Document, and then create another one, and then I'll open it. Okay, and I'll minimize that, and I'll minimize the other one, and it still shows that we just have one instance of Word going. But if we go into the details here, now I can see here that there's two instances of Word going. Look at that. So that shows both of them. So now I'm going to go ahead and right here from the Task Manager, I can right click and end task, and that will shut down one of them here. So let me see if we can see it in action. I'm going to pull this one up, and I'm just going to get this so we can see the Word in the background, but I can kill it from here. So I think it's this first one. So I'm going to right click and do end task, and that kills it. So you can kill these apps that are running from the Task Manager here. Okay, now that's the GUI way to work with all the processes that are running on your computer. We want to be able to do it from the command line so that we could put those commands into a batch file and automate some process for killing tasks on a computer. Okay, let me show you one more thing here. I'm going to go ahead and launch Google Chrome. So maybe some of you are using it right now, but I'm going to launch Google Chrome, and then I'm going to take a look here, and look at this. Some programs, when you run them, they have a whole bunch of processes associated with it. You can see right here that Google Chrome has 8 processes, 8 little programs to help it do all of its work. So there's a lot going on behind the scenes that we're not always aware of here. So when you launch Google Chrome, it actually starts Google Chrome, the app, and then all these background services too. So anyways, I'm not exactly sure of all the details, but I think all of these little background programs help Google Chrome do whatever it does, probably track your data. Let me show you one more thing here. Every one of these apps that are running here have an exe file that you use to launch them. Now you can't see the name of the exe file in this view, but if I go over to details here, I'm going to scroll on down. This is in alphabetical order. I'm going to scroll on down to look at all this stuff going on the computer. I bet you never thought that this many programs were running all at once. But look at, here is my Word executable. So I can see that the name of that executable, the executable to for Microsoft Word is winword.exe. Okay, so somewhere on the computer there's a file called winword.exe, and if I were to double click on it, that would launch Word. That is the Word executable file. So now let's go ahead and open a terminal and start messing around with these processes from the command line. Because remember, if you can do them from the command line, you can put the commands into a script file and run it. So that's the advantage of being able to do this stuff not from the GUI here, like we see this Task Manager GUI app, but from the command line. Now I'm going to right click on the Start button, and I'm going to type in CMD to look for the command terminal app that we're going to use here. But what I want to do is I want to make sure that we run this as administrator. So when I right click here, I should see run as administrator. I believe you have to be an administrator to kill tasks, which is what we're going to do here. So I'll go ahead and make sure I run the command prompt as administrator, just like this, and then I'm going to close that like that, and here we go. So now look at, it shows me up here in the toolbar, it says it running as administrator right there. Okay. All right, so the first command that we're going to run is just task list, and this will list all the tasks that are running. So go ahead and type in task list, and there's a lot. We saw that there's a lot going on, and look at here we go. I see Chrome here right away, and there's a whole bunch of them, even though I only have one Chrome window open. But apparently Chrome has a bunch of background services that it launches to do its work. I think I put a link in Blackboard about an article that explains why Chrome has so many processes involved with it. But here's our winword.exe. Okay, so here's, let's look at what's going on. There's a few columns here, and I have to scroll up quite a bit here. Okay, so they call these image names, and I'm not exactly sure why. I would think they should call it like executable name, because they're all executable file or executables that are running. You guys know that executables or .exe files are actually programs that run on the computer. Okay, now each one of these gets its own ID. So this PID, that stands for the process ID. Each one gets its own unique ID, and we can use that to kill a command, which we'll see in a little bit right here. I'm not sure what session name does, and I'm not sure what session number is either, but here we can see how much memory the process is currently using. So this is constantly changing as an app runs, but at the time that I run the task list command, this was showing me how much memory in RAM the executable was using. That'll fluctuate a lot. So if I were to run task list again, these numbers would be different probably. Okay, now I did put a link to the task list documentation, so let's go take a look at that and see what we can learn from it. So I want you guys to be good at reading the documentation so that you can learn how to use commands. That's an important part of being good with batch scripting and running commands, is understanding the documentation. So I'm going to go on over here to Chrome, and I did give you a link to the documentation for the task list command. It's on Blackboard. So I'm going to grab that from Blackboard and paste it over here, and let's just have a look and see if we can make some sense out of this task list command. So you guys are learning about parameters, or they call them different things, parameters. I've been calling them switches, but these are all the modifiers that you can add when you run a command. So if you look at these ones here, you can see that we can run task list with various switches. The S switch would specify a server name or IP address. So you can actually kill tasks that are running on remote computers that are not your own, a computer out on the internet. So you could connect to a computer and run the task list command and see what's running on that computer that's on the other side of the cloud. Okay, and so I think these first few switches have to do with all that. Like, so here you'd specify, it looks like you specify an IP address for the computer that you want to connect to, and then a Windows domain name, and then you'd have to enter a password. I'm not sure what this module does. Let's see. So here we can do here's an easy one. The V switch shows verbose task information. Let's try that one real quick. So it's good to just experiment and play around. But that one, I'm going to scroll on. I'm going to actually do CLS to clear screen. I'll clear the screen. And then I'm going to run the task list with the /V. Okay, and so apparently this gives us a little more information. Now look at what's interesting here is this column here is showing the username that is running the exe file. So you can see here that this is my username. I'm the one who launched the word exe. Okay, so that could be helpful if you're trying to find a hacker, trying to figure out what user account was used to launch a file that could be malicious or something like that. Okay, so there's the V switch. What else do we have here? This one's kind of interesting. Now, this one's the FO switch, but let's see what it says. It specifies the format to use for the output. Okay, so, and it says the options are table, list, and CSV. So the way this one works, and I didn't know this until just yesterday, but you use the FO switch, and I think that means format output. And then after that, you can put a few things like table, list, or CSV. So here, the reason why I learned how this works, because this is kind of hard to understand right there, but what I did is I scrolled down to the examples here, and I saw that, where was it? Where did I see that one? Somewhere in here. Maybe I saw it on a different page, but I poked around and I figured out how to make use of that. So anyways, we'll try this. So sometimes the official documentation doesn't give you exactly what you want, and you got to go poking around looking for other places, other resources that help you learn how to use a command. Anyways, here, so if I go back to the terminal here, I'm going to run Tasklist again, and I'm going to use the FO switch. So I do /FO, and now I can either enter table, list, or CSV. Let's try list. Okay. I spelled task list wrong. There we go. Fix that. So this shows us the running processes in list form. And then let's try a table. That should be easy to read, I think. Okay, look at that. So there we get a table. That must be the default, because I think that's what we saw when we just ran it without any switch. Okay, let's try out the CSV one. So I'm going to hit the up arrow, and I'm just going to change this to the CSV option. Okay, now look at that. That's interesting. Does that look familiar? Comma separated values. So here, if you wanted to take a snapshot of all the running processes and pump it into a spreadsheet, you could do it. Let's just dink around and try and see if we can do that real quick here. So here's what I want to do here. Let's try this. Let's just try it real simple first. So you guys know about redirection right now. So let's go task list, and then we'll use our FO switch there. And then we want to do it in the CSV format. And then we'll use the redirection symbol, which is the greater than sign, and then we'll redirect it to a file named tasks.csv, like that, okay? Now I think that worked, but one thing I'm just noticing is, where do you think it put this file, tasks.csv? Well, it's from wherever we ran this script right here. So that's not where I wanted it. Why don't we go ahead and CD to the desktop right here? So let's see, we'll go step by step here. Let's CD first to the C drive, like that. And then from there, I can CD into users. Look at, I hit tab there and it finished off users for me. Then if I put a backslash, there is a user with my name. It's Cotter N. So, and then you guys will have your own username, and if you're using a school computer, it will be your user ID. And then I'm going to put a backslash there, and then we want to go to the desktop like that. Okay. Now I'm going to hit the up arrow a few times and rerun that command that pumps out the task list in CSV format and redirects the output into this tasks.csv file. Okay, now let's go have a look at the desktop here and see if we can find it. Where is it? There it is right here, tasks.csv. So if I double click on it, there we go. So this could be useful if you're taking snapshots and you want to add them to a CSV file. You can then get all the data in Excel, which is pretty helpful. Okay, so after looking at the documentation and maybe poking around the internet a little bit, I found out some other things to do here. You can actually filter the task list too, because the output can be overwhelming. It's a lot of stuff. But maybe I just want to filter and see one specific task and some information about it. Like, let's try this here. Let's do task list, and I'll use the FI switch, which stands for filter. And then here I put a pair of double quotes, and then I put my filter inside of the double quotes. So I put 2 double quotes there, and now I'm going to type inside the double quotes. So here's one filter. You can choose image, type in image name, all one word, just like that. And then an EQ operator. Remember the EQ operator from when we were learning about if statements a few weeks ago? And then I can put in the name of the EXE that I want to filter on here. So here, let's try Win Word. That was the name of the Microsoft Word EXE, just like that. So let's see what this does here. There we go. So that shows me, I think I started with 2 and then I killed one of them. Let's try that same one with Chrome. So I'm going to hit the up arrow and I'm going to change WinWord to Chrome.exe. Okay, so here are all the Chrome processes running. Okay, now let's go ahead and combine some switches here. So if I wanted to, I could do a filter and specify the format like this. So here I just hit the up arrow to give me the previous command. Let's go ahead and I'm going to go back here, and right before the /FI, I'll do /FO, and then I'll say CSV for the format output option. So now I'm using 2 switches here. There we go. So now I can see the format. I can see the comma separated values. Okay, so you can combine these switches, and you just have to kind of play around with this stuff. Alrighty, what else here? I think what we'll do is we'll move on to the Taskkill command now. Now there's how you can, this is how you can kill a command from running. So let's go back over to, here's our WinWord that we ran earlier, and I can see that its process ID is 12,608. So that's what we would use. That's one way we can kill a task. So let's do this from the command line here. Okay, so I just learned this from the documentation too, but so I want to keep a note of the process ID for Microsoft Word right there, and I just type in Taskkill, and then the switch is PID, so that means process ID, and then after that switch I type in the process ID. So I'll type in 12608. Obviously yours are going to have different IDs than mine, but what I want to do here is here's my Word document running. I'm just going to kind of keep it up there so we can see it disappear once I hit enter right here. So once I hit enter, sent terminal, okay, maybe, why did that not kill that? Not exactly sure here. Did I do the wrong number? No, I think I did the right number. All right, so that's strange. I did get it to kill it, but I added this F switch you can see right there. Let me just show you again. So here's the command that I ran to kill it, and then the window automatically closed. So now I shouldn't have to add the F switch. What that means is to forcefully kill it. So maybe we'll play around with this again here. I want to try it. Let's go ahead and open up 2 new Word documents again. Or actually, we've already got them. These are the 2 that we created. Just go ahead and open those up again, both of them. So there's the first one, and then I'm going to minimize it. And there's the second one, and I'm going to minimize that. Okay, so there's both of them. Now, I was under the impression that we didn't need to use the F switch, which forcefully kills a process, whatever that means, forcefully. But I was able to get it to work with the F switch here. Okay, there's another way that you can kill processes too. You can kill them by their image name. So let's try that too. So what we did here was we figured out the process ID, and then we used Taskkill with the process ID to kill. But if you have a whole bunch of, like we have all these Chrome processes running, I believe we could kill them all with the same filter that we used with our task list command. Okay, now I don't want you to kill Chrome, because that's what you might be watching this video with Chrome, so then you lose the video. So, but let's try and kill Word in the same way. So let me see here. I'm just going to scroll down just a little bit, and I think we can do it like this. So I'm going to clear this out, and I'll do task list, and then I'll do the /FI. So now this is the same switch that we used with the task list command. So I do the FI switch, and that means filter, and then we can filter on the image name that's equal to, so I typed in EQ, and then the image name we saw for Word was winword.exe. winword.exe. Did I get that right? Okay. Now, I don't know if I'm going to have to add the F switch here or not, but here, just before I hit enter right here, I am going to pull these up so we can see them both. And then I'm going to switch back over here so I can see the Word documents in the background. Let's see if this works right now. So again, you can use the filter command just like we did for the task list, or I'm sorry, the filter switch, just like we did for the task list command. Okay, there we go, and then they both disappeared. So, you know, if you've got a whole bunch of instances of Chrome running like we saw earlier, and you wanted to kill them all, then you'd probably want to use the FI switch like we did here and specify the image name equal to whatever the EXE is that represents the app that's running. Okay, or you could kill tasks by process ID. Okay, now I've never been a network administrator, but I've heard that this is a really common thing for network administrators to have to do, is they somehow on a machine, some app stops working properly, but it's still running. So you have to go in and kill it so it doesn't suck up all the memory and bring down a server. Or a lot of times hackers will put malicious executable files and run them on a computer, so you'll have to kill those too. And although we aren't getting into this because we don't have remote computers to connect to, you can run the Taskkill command on a different computer, not the one that you're sitting at. So you can connect to another computer and kill tasks too. Okay, here's what I want you to do to submit this assignment. So here's another command that's kind of cool, but it's called, let's type in this DOS key. So DOS key, and then space, and then we'll use the history switch here. Okay, so this looks like we're running the DOS key command, which I never heard about until just recently. And then if I add the history switch, look at what it does. This shows us all the commands that we ran while we were using this terminal window right here. So these are all the commands that we ran. Here's what I want you to do. I'm going to have you redirect this whole list of commands that we just ran into a file, and that's what you're going to turn in. So now look at, I'm on the desktop, so this file that we're going to create is going to end up on the desktop, so you want to be aware of where you're running the command from. But go ahead and hit the up arrow, and we want to do that same command again, but this time we're going to redirect it into a TXT file. So I'm going to use the greater than sign, and then the file that we use can be task commands.txt. Okay, so we're going to redirect the output of this DOS key command into a text file like that. So go ahead and hit enter, and then I should be able to see that file on my desktop here, and here it is right here. So, and then it's got all the commands that we just ran, and now that's what you can turn in for this assignment for completing this video. All right, there you go. Oh, I was going to say, by the way, you're not allowed to upload BAT files to Blackboard, which has created a lot of problems for me. But we can upload TXT files. That shouldn't be a problem. So I might change the way you guys are submitting some of your assignments. But anyways, go ahead and attach this to the assignment here. All right, have a good one.